Green Mountain, Reliant, Pulse Power. Which is the best Texas electricity provider? We're going to be answering that question and much more in today's video. Hi everyone, Joe Ordia here for Solar Surge, and for the past 9 years I've been helping families achieve energy independence using clean renewable energy. Here on the Solar Surge channel, if you're new to the channel, we talk about all things having to do with solar power, renewable energy, energy storage systems, and sometimes even backup generator systems as well. You're going to find product reviews and comparisons, industry news, as well as short educational videos on different topics relevant to home renewable energy systems. Now, in today's video, we're going to be talking about the different options for electricity providers in Texas. Now, let's start with a little bit of background, because the Texas electricity market is unlike virtually any other state in the United States. 85% of homes in Texas are in what we call the deregulated electricity market. So in Texas, you have the regulated market where you only have a single provider, and you have the deregulated market where you have two providers. You have what's called your TDU provider, your transmission and distribution utility, which owns the power lines and the meter and the means of getting the electricity to your home. And then you have a separate retail energy provider, which is your actual source of the electricity, if you will. And so if you live in Texas in a deregulated area, you can choose from over 100 different retail energy providers. And they all have different rate plans and different benefits and pros and cons of each. And so what we're going to be doing in today's video is helping you decide which is the best Texas electric provider, especially if you're considering going solar or maybe in the future purchasing an electric vehicle, which of the over 100 providers are going to offer you the best rate plan. Now, when you're talking about a rate plan, what we're talking about is how much do you spend, or how much are you being charged per unit of electricity consumed. And so each plan will have a certain dollar per kilowatt hour rate. Now, these rates may change based on the time of the day. Some rate plans charge you a higher rate during peak hours, and they may charge you a lower rate, or they even may offer, in some cases, they may offer free power during certain off-peak hours. So if you're planning on purchasing an electric vehicle and you're okay with only charging your electric vehicle during off-peak hours, then you may want to look for a utility that offers free powers during the evening or during the early morning hours. On the other hand, if you're considering investing in a solar power system, particularly if you're looking to achieve 100% full offset with solar electricity, then you want to make sure that you choose an electric provider that has a generous solar buyback plan, meaning they're going to give you full credit when you're exporting solar electricity to them during daylight hours as the same rate that they charge you if you were to be consuming electricity from them during evening hours. Now, you're going to see rates ranging anywhere from 8-9 cents on the low end all the way up to 20 or 25 cents per kilowatt hour on the high end. But choosing the rate plan based on the rate alone is not sufficient. You really have to understand how you intend to use that plan. So let's take your typical homeowner, for example. They're just looking to pay the lowest amount for electricity purchased from the utility. They're not looking at solar. They're not looking at an electric vehicle. In this case, you may want to do your shopping just based on the dollar price per kilowatt hour. And right now, as I'm doing this recording, there still are some rate plans where you can get close to 10 or 12 cents per kilowatt hour, which is an excellent rate. If you compare that rate to some other states in the country, it's less than half than what a lot of folks are paying in states like California, New York, or Massachusetts. So if you're just looking at how do you minimize your electric cost and you're okay with sticking with the power company as your only power source, then go ahead and look for one of the retail providers that gives you the lowest dollar per kilowatt hour. Now, on the other hand, if you're considering a future investment in a solar power system, then you want to make sure that you look at a retail provider that has the best solar buyback plan. Now, as of this recording, there are only 7 retail providers in Texas that offer a solar buyback plan. And those providers are Pulse Power, Green Mountain, Rhythm, Reliant, TXU Energy, Octopus, and M2 Energy, which is owned by Shell. Now, with the solar buyback plan, basically what this means is that during daylight hours, you can directly power your home using solar electricity, and in many cases, you're going to have excess electricity that you can export to the power company. And so basically, during daylight hours, when your solar is producing abundantly, you'll actually be running your meter backwards, building up credits on your account that then you can use during the evening hours when you have to pull back in electricity from the electric company. And the goal, of course, is to bank enough credits during daylight that it covers what you consume during the evening so that it nets out to zero, or it balances out to zero. So if this is your goal, is to put in a system that nets you out to a zero energy usage or a net zero energy usage, then make sure you choose a provider that offers the most generous buyback. The rate that you pay per kilowatt hour doesn't really matter. If you're going to be putting in enough solar to be generating all of your usage, then even if the rate is something higher, like 17, 18, or even 20 cents, it doesn't really matter because you're not going to be paying that rate. All you're going to be paying is the base fee. So as of right now, if I had to recommend a retail provider in terms of the best buyback, the top 3 are going to be Pulse Power, Rhythm, and Green Mountain. Now, another thing that you're going to want to consider is a month-to-month rollover credit. And the reason why the month-to-month rollover is important is because, solar production does have seasonal fluctuations. In the summer months, where you tend to have more clear weather and the days are longer, you're going to have more solar produced. And on the other hand, during the winter months, you tend to have more overcast days, and of course the days are shorter, so your solar produced is going to be less. Now, if you're looking at the entire annual picture, which is what we do when we look at designing a solar power system, you want to make sure that whatever excess solar electricity is generated during high production solar months, that you can carry that excess credit forward with you into months where you're going to have less solar production. So it's very, very common during the spring when the days start to get longer, but before your air conditioner has to work very hard. So in the spring months like March, April, and May, you can have a solar credit. You can have excess solar credit on your account, which you would like to be able to carry into the middle and the end of the summer when your energy consumption typically goes up because your air conditioning has to work that much harder. So having a solar buyback plan with a month-to-month rollover is something that you're going to want to take advantage of as well. Now, another thing that we're seeing as the rate plans begin to reset is that the solar buyback rate offered by the power companies sometimes is less than the retail rate that the power company charges you when you're going to be purchasing power from them. And if that's the case, if you want to maximize your dollar-for-dollar return on investment in solar, it may not make sense to go to a 100% full offset system because you may have to pay for more solar panels and produce more electricity than you're actually going to be getting the full price credit for. But if your goal is to get the best dollar-for-dollar return on your investment, then you may want to target a slightly smaller system, say 60 to 75% electric bill offset, so that the system and the solar electricity coming off that system is more likely to be directly self-consumed by your home. Meaning, whatever solar is coming off your solar panels, it'll get fed into the house first. The house will get sort of first dibs to directly consume that electricity. So there's not really going to be a whole lot of excess being sold to or traded back and forth with the power company. So definitely something to consider as well. Now, there are several websites dedicated to this topic of helping Texas consumers choose the right energy plan. And we'll put a link down in the description below if you'd like to take a look and look at all the pros and cons and rates offered by each. But in terms of a solar electric provider or a retail electric provider that has the most solar-friendly program, here at Solar Surge, we recommend Pulse Power, Green Mountain, and Rhythm as our top 3. Well, folks, this has been a brief discussion about the best solar electric rate plans and the best electricity providers in Texas if you're thinking about using solar power. As always, if you're getting good value from the information that we publish on Solar Surge, be sure to give us a thumbs up. And also consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. Right now we're trying to make sure we get at least 2 quality videos out for you guys every week. Of course, if you're in the process of looking at solar power options for your home, if you need to get a price quote, or maybe if you already have a quote, you need to get a comparison quote to make sure that you're getting the best deal, as always, feel free to reach out to us on the link below there. We'll just chat with you for about 15 minutes to find out exactly what your needs and requirements are, and then we'd be happy to provide some pricing and some information for you. Well, folks, I thank you for spending some time with Solar Surge today. As always, I'm Joe Ordia, encouraging you to get prepared and be empowered. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.